You're almost 91. What is a truth about life that you wish more people understood?
I shook more than 1 million hands in my life. Sometimes you make mistakes, but experience tell you to be guarded against that type of people. Don't try to be somebody you're not.
What did you do differently that led you to become the Prime Minister?
A few weeks ago, I had the honor of interviewing the former Prime Minister of Canada, 90-year-old Jean Chrétien. He never lost an election and was famous for standing up to his allies, making his own big decisions, and being liked by everyone. There is no mistaking that Mr. Chrétien's story is one of perseverance, and the lessons he shares with us today will 100% make you a better person. So without further ado, let's get into it.
How old are you?
I am 90 years old, and in a month I will be 91.
What does it feel like to be 90 years old and almost 91?
You know, you have to take one day at a time. I feel normal. I get up in the morning, come to work, and enjoy life, and I don't think about my age. I just mentioned that when I was to impress people. They are a bit surprised that I still come to earn my living at my age.
If you're looking back on life, what are things you have done to get to this point and feel the way you feel?
In my family, we tend to get quite old. My dad died, he was almost 93, and I have a sister who went to 100, a brother 99, another brother 95. So, you know, it's normal in my family to be that age. We were 9 living kids, and the one who died, the youngest, was 81.
Wow. You're born in 1934.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people know you as the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Canada, but what do we need to know about how you grew up in order to understand the person that you are today?
My father was a blue-collar in paper mills, and he was a machinist. Coming from the rural part of Quebec, became a lawyer, and I was elected to Parliament at 29. And I could not speak real English when I arrived on the Hill, took my job seriously. I was lucky, and I was lucky when the luck came. I was on the Hill more than 40 years. I was in cabinet for 30 years, of which 10 as Prime Minister, and I was on top of it, leader of the opposition.
Was it always a dream of yours when you were younger to be the Prime Minister, or did that come eventually?
No, I became interested in politics because of my dad, and he dreamed to have one of his kids to be a politician. And as I was an hyperactive kid, he thought I had the energy needed to do that. So he started to train me very young, like you train your son to be a hockey player. You go to the hockey ring at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I wanted to become an architect. And Dad said, you will never get elected as an architect. You go to the law school. And in those days, his dad said something, we listened. So I became a lawyer at his request and a politician as it was his desire.
A lot of people go through the stages you went through, from being in the cabinet and being a minister, but they never become Prime Minister. Let's talk about reaching the peak of a goal. What did you do differently than everyone else that led you to be worthy and become the Prime Minister?
I don't know. I did. You have to work. Working in our family, it's a pleasure, and success is a goal. It's what happened to me and happened to my brothers. They all done quite well.
Do you think most people do the opposite? People get it the wrong way?
For a lot of people, working is a burden. For me, I never had a problem to get up to go to work. I always found the interest in what I was doing, but I was lucky. I always had interesting jobs. Apparently, I was the longest-serving minister in Canada. In fact, I never lost an election. And 3-majority government, it was not achieved very often. In fact, I'm the only one who managed to have 3-majority government and never lost. And I had promised my wife to quit before I was 70 years old. And I quit. I was 69, 11 months and 1 day.
You kept your word.
Yes, of course.
You said working is a pleasure for you, and you said a lot of people treat work as a burden. Why does that tend to happen? Why do most people treat work like a burden?
Well, probably a lot of people don't have jobs that they love, For me, it was exciting. It was always new challenge. And when you're in politics, you have to perform. And if you don't perform, they talk about it in the newspaper, on TV, and so on. So it's very challenging. A lot of people go to their work at 9 o'clock and come back home at 5 o'clock, and there's nothing very exciting happening. So they are happy to leave at 5 o'clock or 4:30 to be home, where they have fun with sports and family and so on. One of the difficulties is family life and public life. But I had married my girlfriend, the first girlfriend I had, and she was my girlfriend 5 years before I married her, and I was only 23 when I married her, and she was 21. And she died after 63 years of marriage and 68 years of relation. She was a great lady, very well liked in Canada, very respected. She spoke 4 languages. She had a great political judgment, very quiet, telling me the truth in a very nice way. And, and I would not have become prime minister without her.
A lot of people have a hard time finding love or being with the right person. What was it about your wife that you knew she was the right person?
When I was a kid, I was a terrible kid, overexcited all the time. And my mother used to say there will be a black sheep in the family and Jean will be the black sheep. Until I met this girl, a next door girl somewhat. And my mother realized that she had the calming influence on me. So she did everything, for me to meet her. And she had decided that she was a woman for me, and she was right. So we grew up together, basically, and she was very patient. Everybody would say that we were making a very good couple, and it was exceptional lady, and when she passed away, it was the big national news in Canada because she was respected by everybody.
You were together for longer, but married for 63 years. Can you define the word love for me?
Respect. You have to respect each other. You have to define the role of everybody. She was the boss at home. So if she wanted to have a color on the wall that I didn't like, I would shut up. And that's the way to do that. She was in charge of the house, and if the kids were not happy, I was always on her side. As a matter of policy, Mom was always right. She had to raise the kids virtually alone. I was always on the road. So she was extremely good on that. If she had problem with the kids, she would not even talk to me about it, to not disturb me.
1993 is when you become the prime minister, and that's 30 years ago. When you win, you become the person responsible for managing 30 million plus people at that time in the country. That's a lot of pressure. And I know a lot of people go through pressures in life in different stages, maybe your family, your career, your friends, whatever. How did you manage pressure?
For me, a problem is a problem. And when you have a problem, you have to find a solution. And in life, you have to make, hopefully, always the right decision. So I was calm. Apparently, when there was a crisis, I will never get excited. On the contrary, I will become calm, knowing I had to face a challenge. And I was very decisive. That was one quality that people mention of me. I could make up my mind. For me, I've been involved all my life with decisions to be made every day. Most of the prime ministers hate question period. I loved it. For me to go to question period, I love it. It was a challenge. I used to make the joke. You never know if you've done well. Most of the people turn to their staff to say, was it all right? I didn't have to do that. You know what I would do? When I would get up, I would just do that. If it was dry, I had done well. And if it was wet, it's because I had problems.
So if I'm faced with a big decision in life, whether that's my job, my career, my family, what would be your advice for me to be able to handle that appropriately?
Stay calm. Stay calm. Don't make a move on the spur of the moment. For me, I never make decision in front of a meeting of people. Because if you have 10 guys around the table, some are very eloquent. That doesn't mean that they are right. So put distance between the decision and the discussion. To have an hour or two of reflection. To forget about the presentation. Some are very good at presenting things. Some are shy and not very articulate, and they might be the one who are right. I was known not to make a decision after a discussion.
If you are someone in a situation like this, and you want to be able to do things like this, and this, I highly recommend you grab a copy of our goal-setting journal, our guided journal that helps you live a more fulfilling life based on a 3-step strategy we developed after over 1,000 interviews with older people and high achievers like Prime Minister Chrétien. This journal has helped thousands of people in our community figure out their ideal life, turn it into achievable, specific, and measurable goals, and then track those goals and create a disciplined structure to make progress over 6 months until their dreams become their reality. Click the link below to learn more, get exclusive bonuses, and start upgrading your life this year.
What is one thing that when you were younger, you put a lot of importance on, and as you got older, you realized wasn't actually that important?
Spend a lot of time on sports, for example. Sometimes I tended to do a little bit too much on that and not enough on studying type of thing. But it is life. You have your own personality. You can be natural. Be yourself all the time. Don't try to be somebody you're not.
Did you ever put importance on what other people thought of you? Might not.
I had some people that didn't like me.
For sure.
You have to be comfortable with your decision.
Yeah.
The people who don't like you, there's nothing you can do. They don't like you. But I was not provocative too much. I was doing public life like playing hockey. If I'm on the ice, don't go in the corner, your head down, you would go into the board. But after the game was over, I could have a beer with the opponent guys. And in fact, in politics, the opposition, the other side, are your adversary. Your enemies are the guys behind you who want to replace you. You have to live with both. So you tend to be more comfortable sometimes with the people across the aisle that are just part of the game, and they were opposed to you, they were not voting for you, that was their job in their life, but they were nice guys anyway.
You've come across so many different people who want something from you, and they might be authentic, they might be BSing you. How do you judge whether somebody is worth giving your time and energy to? What makes a good person in that regard?
When you've been in public life, like me, I shook more than 1 million hands in my life. If somebody is flattering you, you realize. Those who are authentic, you realize too. And it is observing people of all sort of personalities that you navigate, and sometimes you make mistakes, but experience tell you to be guarded against that type or the other type of people.
So people who are very flattering usually just...
Oh, too much, come on, I know, don't insist it,
Yeah.
You know when it's flattery. And, it's pleasant once in a while, but not all the time.
So you are known to make the Queen laugh a lot, and the Queen liked you a lot. You've been very good at getting people to like you, and I'm sure genuinely, of course. What would be your secrets or advice for someone who to present themselves in society and be accepted?
Yeah, don't try to be somebody else. Try to be yourself. Be natural. You have to have good manners. Watch the way you dress too. I still to the day, I never come to the office without a tie. I'm not comfortable having shoes like you when I go in public, and but
You don't wear sneakers.
But no, I don't say you're wrong.
Right.
I say I'm comfortable with that, and I don't try to transform myself to be like the gang.
And you think most people
So
tend to?
take me as I am. You like it,
Right.
fine. If you don't like it, there's nothing I can do about it.
What's your thought process to make a decision or not be afraid of what others think?
When you're comfortable with a decision, you make it. When I became Prime Minister, we were in a real fiscal mess. The big financial newspaper, one had written that Canada was a candidate for the third world status. The World Bank was looking at us to intervene. And I said to the cabinet, I might be Prime Minister only for one term, but I will fix the finance of the nation. And I did. But I knew that I could fail, and I might have been a Prime Minister for one term. But I had already been in public life for 30 years. So my ambition was to do the right thing.
In your opinion, what makes a great leader? What are the qualities that someone has?
To be honest, to be frank, to be knowledgeable, to be hardworking, and to do your best. I did my best. At the end of the day, I will come home, I will say to myself, yeah, I've done my best.
For you, you're almost 91. What is a truth about life that you wish more people understood?
Your life is decided by life. So you have the destiny, and the assemble of your qualities will determine, or your defect, what kind of life you have. So you do your best all the time. You have something to do, you try to do it. If you do something, try to do it well. Have pride in the quality of your work. Sometimes you might not succeed. Sometimes it's terribly unfair. I've seen guys who should have had a much better life than they had. They were unlucky, and it's sad. But on the other hand, you have to be there when the luck passes. Don't be in the bar, when the luck passes. Be on the job, and you will have a chance to do well.
If you could go back in time to your 25-year-old self, knowing everything you know today about life, and you could give him one piece of advice, what would you say to him?
Work. Nothing is completely easy. And if you have something in mind, try it. But don't go and spend the rest of your life, I should have tried it. But it's easy for me. I was elected 12 times MP and never lost an election. I won 3 majority government. I was 30 years in the cabinet, 3 years the leader of the opposition. So I have a pretty good CV. So I cannot complain.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.